If we want agents to run their businesses like businesses, shouldn't we be using the language of business? Yes, because articulate your value is not uh, a strategy. Just be consistent is not a business plan. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to get you talking like the CEOs that you are. Real businesses, they run on a few honestly pretty boring and monotonous questions, but they're powerful. They're powerful questions. Things like, what's the margin? What's the return? What are we building today that will be here and last a year from now? These these questions may sound dry and uncreative, but they truly are the foundation to running a real estate practice like a business. And I don't think people are so comfortable in using these terms that are so common. They're very commonplace in other industries. And if you were to go try to pitch an investor or something, these would be just their nomenclature. They're what they use. And yet, I don't think we approach or give agents the language or the training because we just don't use it ourselves as foundational leaders. So, back in August, I will tell you just my personal experience with this. It sort of just hit me in the face a little bit, and I thought, why am I not using the language of business? Because I was confused by all of the nuance and noise that is thrown into training that has nothing to do with business. Sometimes we get so used to being in our own um, systems, and we're in our own echo chambers in the real estate industry, that we get blinders on. We forget to look at things a little differently. And that's what had happened to me. So, back in I do my business planning in August. Those of you who have been here a while, know that. You hear me talk about it quite a bit. So it's about this time of year where I can look back, from January forward and say, "Is this going well? Is this making a difference? Am I feeling this? Should I put this down? Should I enhance it? Should I do more of this? Should I do less of this?" And one of the most subtle yet powerful shifts I decided to make in August was using terms inside my business a little differently. So I'm a founder, I'm an owner. That was a different lens for me to start viewing the business through. I have 3 people that I count on quite a bit, and I gave them names. They are a CEO, they are a COO, and it was somehow, some way, sometimes the most smallest and subtlest of shifts can really, change change the way you operate daily, because if I know that I'm not supposed to be in that lane, I know I need to get out of the way, which is oftentimes the problem. Look in the mirror when you're looking for the problem. Always go look in the mirror, which in my case, I was no different than most of you or many of us, right? We're looking for the log jam. We're looking for the problem. And oftentimes it's staring at you in the mirror. I'm no different. So I sort of got out of my own way simply by using more common terms in business. And I don't think a lot of agents view their business this way. I get it because you're not trained that way. So, um, and I guess I feel I feel as if I'm allowed to say that because I've been listening for it really intently for about 6 months, uh, and I don't hear it anywhere. For instance, what you hear in your sales meeting is a lot of what's in the echo chamber of the industry. So, given that we are going through such such a renovation. Who knew it would be this messy and this loud? But given that, I thought it was a nice opportunity to sort of do a change order of our own. If you've ever been through new construction, you know change orders, they can be expensive and pricey, but it's better to get it right. So let's do a change order and let's start using the language of business. And I can just tell you from my own experience, it's been fairly useful. So today we're going to give listeners a lens with which to really use before you spend money. And this is so important because agents are pitched all day, every day. They are interrupted with the most important activities they're trying to accomplish with sales pitches, whether it be through pings and dings on their phone. Even in meetings, you get pitched, it's just this constant barrage. So how do we, as business owners, evaluate this in a way that makes us profitable, productive, and fulfilled? Oh, well, we have some language for you today, listeners. So there are actually 5 I'm going to give you in the podcast, but you can also go read on Substack. I've done a different version of this for you on Substack, but for the listeners here, I didn't just want to recap what I wrote in Substack. This is really for the listener who is trying to run their business differently through the identity-based lens. So if you're looking for the traditional transactional kind of CapEx expenditures, that you're not going to get that here. But for those of you, I thought it might be useful because we're getting to a point where people, they want to practice this type of real estate. They want to build a brand based on fit and identity and really build a moat around their business. But what exactly does that look like? So if that's you, if you're interested in what kind of expenditures would it be for an identity-based agent or broker? Let's talk about that. But before we do, we have to understand some basic terms. Like, for instance, OpEx and CapEx, operating expenditures versus capital expenditures. One keeps you operating, and the other is really building your advantage or building your moat. So operating expenditures are more of your daily expenses, gas, paying dues, having access to things like that. Capital expenditures are really increasing your capacity, your training. So, and if you're building an identity-based practice, that difference is really everything. So, as I mentioned before, you can go to Substack and sort of comb through the writing side of this. This is just for listeners, and we want to give listeners what counts as building the moat around here. We're talking about building durable capability, differentiation, and anything that is like a durable asset you own. Now, those are, I should probably slow down a little bit, but why don't I just give you the 5 categories that I deem worthy as capital expenditures, those things that are increasing your capabilities, okay, in the identity-based world. There's 5 of them that I actually made a list. So let's read. There's 5 categories for good capital expenditures for identity-based folks. Number 1, positioning and brand assets. Number 2, your authority engine. Number 3, stand by, client experience, really building the moat. Number 4, skill and capability upgrades that really change your ceiling. And lastly, number 5, distribution that you own. So let's go back to the top and talk a little bit more about each one. Number 1 is really about positioning and brand assets. It's number 1 for a reason. We're talking about brand strategy and messaging work, your voice, your point of view. What do you offer? What is the narrative of your story? These are important pieces that really have an impact on your business, but it also increases your personal capability and confidence. These are a big deal. Now, some other things that might be worth spending money on is professional brand photography. You can't go wrong there. God bless all of you videographers and photographers out there who do it so well. We love you and need more of you. This, though, has to be done in an evergreen manner and something that is on brand. So, step one, you have to know what your brand is. You have to do a little self-discovery there, part of the identity-based process. But once you do, that's when you can go obtain evergreen B-roll to help give a visual to that. And those things also might include website building and copywriting that is about conversion. Very big difference. And I can't go too deep here, or else we'll begin teaching the IBRE methodology, which you could go get at the website. You can go to sandymcmaster.com and learn more about that, how to do that. But we're also talking about, we're still on number one, believe it or not, positioning and brand assets. But one of the third most powerful subheader underneath of this would be the custom experience. If you're spending money on illustrating or demonstrating, either by writing or on video, anything that demonstrates and really shows or tells your custom experience, somebody's going to experience with you, ooh, that is something worth spending money on if you are practicing real estate through the identity-based methodology. We're talking about guides, playbooks, templates, always so helpful, these things that we reuse every day. So that is just number one. Now, those kinds of things, capital expenditures, something you would look at and reevaluate annually. Yes. So make a list of anything I described right there. Number one would be a version or a line item that's worth spending money on. Let's move to 2, your authority engine. This is content that compounds. For instance, I have several, maybe 2 to 3 messages that my VIPs get every year. They are evergreen messages. I send them every year. They reinforce my brand message. It reinforces what they get from me in a way that is not making me the hero of the story, is making them the hero of the story. Now, those are evergreen messages. So that is part of my authority engine. I should revisit that every year. I should keep increasing that authority engine. That's content that compounds, content that is so good. You reuse it every year. So these would be flagship thought leadership pieces. Sometimes I call them your brand pillars. Sometimes people have somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 5 is pushing it. I like, 3 is a happy medium. But if you have pillars, we want to make sure that those are part of your authority engine. And any setup that creates a repeatable system. This is really important, right? Because we don't want to be recreating the wheel every year or every month. So this content system is also a part of the methodology with identity-based real estate. This is a mouthful, but the IO, Identity Ops, AI editor, this is a good example of something that is part of the authority engine. It really nests nicely in there, and it's part of what I've been working on and part of the methodology. So IO AI editor is like an assistant of mine. We work together all the time, and Norbs, love ya. He's part of the content system that helps me it's not a rebuild, it's just an enhancement of the pillars. So anything that helps you with your intellectual property, getting that messaging out, anything that's repeatable, SOPs, that kind of thing. These are worthy capital expenditures. All right, number 3, client experience. What is your moat, my friends? You have to be building your protective moat around your brand if you are practicing identity-based real estate. So what kinds of things might a moat be? We're talking about signature onboarding. Um, there is a signature onboarding process for my clients. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, it is custom. It's just mine. I help people create theirs, but that is a great example of a moat. They're not going to find that anywhere else. And boy, are they going to feel like, oh, this is different. I did not get this experience when I called Who's a What's It at 188 Sell My House. Another a part of the client experience is not just when they're buying or selling, but what happens afterward, your communication cadence. What are those deliverables like? Do your deliverables look like everyone else's? If they do, you are not practicing identity-based real estate. So client experience, not just, it's kind of like that before they're a client, while they're a client, and after they're a client. That should all be signature in order to create a client moat. This is also this is how I do it in my business, is through Notion. All of the people practicing IBRE, most using Notion. Some really take Notion and run with it. Ooh, it's so powerful, and I'm so happy they do that. Other people just use the bare bones of it. All good. But it's where we keep your playbooks, your repeatable systems, your standard operating procedures, and any like concierge style partnerships. All those things get run, housed, and organized there. Don't get overwhelmed. We're only on number 3, but don't get overwhelmed. And I'm talking fast because I want you to stay engaged to hear all 5. Okay, number 4, skill and capacity upgrades. This is a worthy expenditure, really, no matter what business model you are running, but what does it look like for identity-based agents and brokers? That's anything that's going to change the ceiling. Negotiation training might be a good example of that. But my favorite example really is psychology. If you have a high EQ, this can take you really far down the path here. So I think that's a really worthy capital expenditure. Of course, all of this has to balance with your operating expenses, and hopefully you have that in a profit and loss statement. But that is a podcast for another day. So still with number 4, skill and capability upgrades, negotiation training, psychology, writing and coaching that improves your ability to lead clients and create IP or intellectual property. That's a mouthful, and you may not know exactly what I mean there, but once you know your brand, this becomes much easier. So don't get hung up there. But once you have your brand and you have your pillars, okay, we need to go express that. And anything that helps you do that may fall under this bucket. Okay. Number 5, distribution you own. This is a strategy play for the future, my friends. You need to own what you do. This is your infrastructure. I mean, I could have put this under building a moat. I didn't. But if you do plan on building some sort of community or any kind of membership, this is especially important, especially if you're going to run a communication channel. You want to make sure that you own it. So here's the IBRE filter that might be easiest for you to just ask before you spend. Very important, because we want to spend wisely. Here's the question. If you stop paying for it tomorrow, ask, does anything valuable about you remain? Key words are about you. Does anything valuable about you remain? I'll say it one more time. If you stopped paying for it tomorrow, does anything valuable about you remain? If yes, that's probably a worthy capital expenditure. If not, it might qualify as an operating expense, but it might not be worth paying for it all. So you got to start viewing all these pitches that you get every day from every angle a slightly different way through a business lens. And here's the punchline. When you start using business language, you start making business style decisions. And it's not about more hustle. It's about becoming a better business person. It's not more tactics. It's better allocation and it's better direction. So if you're an agent out there and this all sounds like a foreign language to you because you've never heard this before, that's okay. That's okay. But you should be in an ecosystem and an operating environment who treats you like a business owner because you are. You are. You are not an employee. So I implore you to stop acting or running a business like one. And also, if you're an agent looking for an identity-based broker or an ecosystem that does treat agents this way, just reach out. You can send an email to sandy.mcmaster@gmail.com. And we can talk about that. I'm getting to a point where there are some pockets of people around the country. I may not have a broker in your neighborhood, but we can at least hopefully get you hooked up with an ecosystem that treats and talks to agents as business owners. I think it's really an important and not so subtle shift. And if you're a local agent, for me, Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, and you are looking to be potentially part of a team who operates this way, you can also email me. This is not a plug into the machine sort of situation, but more of a real culture with real standards, coaching, and an actual point of view. If you're a local agent, email me. Tell me where you are, what kind of business you're trying to build, and maybe even what you are done tolerating, because we are in the midst of quite the renovation. All right, I will cap it there until next week. See where you can begin using the language of business. I hope it helps you. Let me know how it goes.